Morning, peeps. I'm back again. I've just been out for a run. Went out 5 o'clock in the morning, in the dirt. Lovely morning, nice and warm. Birds all starting to chirp. I ran through the little nature reserve, and I've come home and I thought I'd talk to you lot because I had some good ideas while I was out there, and I thought good time to do a video and talk to you lot. So here we go. So first thing, we'll have a quick run through. We've got a few things to discuss today. I want to have a go at people for picking on some poor devil because he got a low score this week. And we'll have a quick look at mine first because I made an absolute goat move, peeps. A goat move 2 weeks ago. And you lot were slagging me off, because I got Fernandes in, which everyone else is getting rid of him. And I brought him in before the manager had even been sacked. I knew he was packing his bags out the door, and I was quick to get Fernandes in. It really appealed to me. Everyone else was selling him. People had like untold amounts of blanks with him, and I knew it would be so satisfying to buy him before his first goal. And I immediately got it against Chelsea. Apparently I was lucky, because he got a penalty. It was a bad decision and I got lucky. Well, peeps, I got lucky again because I got another 17 points from him. Because the fact is, he was a bloody good pick, obviously a good pick, and he was unfairly ignored by most of the content creators on the account they couldn't actually fit him into their team, and they don't like doing anything before everyone else does. You know what I mean? It's like too radical to take a risk. But I even saw one of them this week advising people to wait 2 or 3 weeks before getting any Man United assets because you want to wait and see how they're set up. The thing is, peeps, they had Leicester, Ipswich and Everton. Why wait? Jump on. Take your chance. You've got to be in to win, haven't you? And proven FPL asset with loads of 200 plus point scores a season behind him. Manager gone, freed from the shackles, and they're like, wait and see. I mean, what's that all about, honestly? I went up to 600k now, halved my rank, because of Fernandes. It would have been a lot better if Johnson and that prick Solanke had done well. I would have had a really cracking week. I mean, I was 167,000, which is excellent. Would have been like 20k or something game week rank. But the other thing is, I've seen people that didn't have him and that saying their season's over. Well, it's not over. If you're ranked at 2 million, you're in the top 20% of managers. If you're 3 million, you're in the top 30% of managers. I'm in the top 6% of managers. You look at it that way, and you'll feel a lot better about how you're doing, because believe me, peeps, there's nothing wrong with, at this stage of the season, being in the top 20% of managers. Last year I was 2 million at Christmas and still finished at 80k, and anything in the top 100k puts you in the top 1% of managers. Years ago it used to be top 10k, didn't it? It was top 1%. Now it's 100k. So don't think you're doing badly, because you're not. Don't go on tilt and make stupid decisions thinking that you have to do something drastic to try and catch up or your season's over, because it's not over. It's early days. A lot of people have played all their chips, and their teams start to look at shambles because they don't manage them properly. Whereas you're going to do well. You're going to gradually climb. You're going to have your ups and downs, but by the end of the season, you'll all be blooming in the top 100k. Well, if you watch this program, you will be. Because you'll get proper advice here. You won't get goat moves like Fernandes. Like you got, who else told you to bring Fernandes in 2 weeks ago? They were all selling him, or they'd had him since the start of the season and were sick of the sight of him. So goat moves is what you'll get, peeps. And my move this week, it's all based on my spider senses, you know what I mean? It's all down to feel my play, the way I play. And my senses are tingling again, and they're telling me I've got to get rid of Trent. But what I've done is I've got rid of Calvert-Lewin. I think I've gone a week early, to be honest. because I think Calvert-Lewin is going to score against my goalkeeper Flecken next week. But I've taken him out, and I've got João Pedro in, who's got fantastic fixtures coming up. And I'm sick of Calvert-Lewin. He's going to drop in price. I'm very proactive when it comes to prices. So I got him out. Bought in for 5.4 João Pedro, who before the season started, everyone was saying was completely underpriced. He's even cheaper now, and he's now in my team. I might take another hit. I've taken quite a few hits this season. Nearly all of them are paid off. Last week's hit paid off by the tune of about 30 points, because I had Haaland and Rodgers, and I changed them to Salah and Cunha, and benefited by at least 30 points. I saw a lot of managers who had Haaland saying they knew Salah was the best pick, but because they didn't have any free transfers, they didn't change it. And to me, these big moves, you've got to make them. This isn't the season to be meek. This is the season to you've got to really have your radar tuned in to surprises this year, because there's danger around every corner, and you've got to be onto it. You know, there's a big risk holding Haaland and captaining him last week. A big risk, because the tide's turned. City aren't what they were. It's obvious, and you know, you've got to be careful not to expose yourself to these sort of dangers. But having said that, I want to say, peeps, I want to defend a content creator here, because somebody posted their team and they only had like 27 points or something. I think it was one of the scout ones, and he only got like 27 points, and he got mercilessly slagged off in the comments, you know, about you shouldn't be allowed to do content creation and this, that and the other, because he got 27 points. Well, he only got 27 points because he was different. He went different, and he should be applauded for that. You know, he captained Solanke. He didn't have Salah. He had Haaland, but he captained Solanke, and it backfired on him. And he only got 27. You know, he obviously didn't have Fernandes either. And it happens to everybody. I wildcarded earlier in the season and got 23 points. Game week rank 10 million. You know, but if you're going to be different, you've got to expect occasionally you're going to get whacked. But that is no excuse to pick on people for being different. You're supposed to applaud people for being different. And it's going to happen to all of you. At some stage, you're going to get a really terrible game week score. It does. It happens to everybody. So think on peeps, and don't pick on people because they've got a bad score, you know. But do applaud someone when they make an absolute goat move, like bringing in Fernandes, you know, 2 weeks before everyone else. It's got to be done, you know. Like I said, people saying be patient for Man United assets are crazy, because look at the fixtures. Okay. I mean, you only got 2 or 3 weeks to act on these things. When these opportunities don't arrive often, and when they do, you've got to jump real quick. You know, I even went before the Chelsea game, because you've only got 1 or 2 weeks before suddenly everybody has them. That's what this game's like. So if you want a big swing, you have to be brave, you have to be bold. You know, you have to act and not just wait. I mean, how long are people going to wait to decide Fernandes is worth buying? You know, I reckon they're going to wait so long that they'll be buying him when I'm selling him, because in a few weeks their fixtures aren't so good. Everyone's going to jump on board, and that'll be the time when I exit and find my next one. And I think I've found the next one here, which is pretty obvious, to be fair, because my spider senses are telling me that Gabriel, who's had like 6 blanks in a row, like Fernandes, is being sold, and like Fernandes is a quality asset. So I'm going to get rid of Trent, if he's not going to play Southampton, and I'm going to bring in Gabriel. So my senses are telling me he's going to start getting points. I haven't had a single Arsenal defender all season, and I've been all the better for it. But now I'm thinking, something's telling me that now is the time to bring one in. and that is what I'll be doing. I'm not interested in the goalkeeper. Very soon I'll be playing Verbruggen, because I always go with two, just in case one is shit, and one is very shit, Flecken. I'll give him the Everton game, because Everton never score goals, except, of course, next week when Calvert-Lewin scores one. But after that, I will be playing for Verbruggen. So that's about it. Team's looking very good. All these hits I've been taking, I've not only improved my rank, they're keeping my team very current. And as you can see from the following week, I've got untold captain choices. Fernandes home to Everton, Palmer home to Villa, Cunha home to Bournemouth, Solanke home to Fulham, although no one's going to go Solanke, I suspect, if they've still got him. João Pedro's got Southampton, and so's my keeper. So this is why I brought João Pedro in. He's got untold amounts of good fixtures coming up. And the other thing is he's only 5.4 million, so I'm treating him like my fifth attacker, my eighth attacker. You know, normally I have a 4.5 eighth attacker, but without Haaland, I've got a bit of money to spend. That's why I've got two keepers, and I can also afford to have 8 attackers. And when you've got people like Cunha on 4 yellows and Christmas rotation coming up, and I think it's good to have 8 players that you can play. But it is going to give me benching headaches, as you can see this week, or the following week rather. Who to bench? You know, I've got to bench someone very good here, haven't I? Someone very good. This week actually looks like another one where I'm going to get a cracking score, judging by the opponents all these people have got. But I'm going to have to bench someone like Johnson in this week, which is crazy, isn't it? But, you know, maybe someone won't play, or someone might be suspended. You never know. But anyway, Pete, so what we're going to talk about now is a little bit about gambling ads creeping back into the community, as you can see here with Scout. A full-on 100% gambling ad, you know, giving you $10 in tickets when you deposit and play any cash contest. So that is completely 100% gambling. You know, there's no ifs or buts with that one, not like Sleeper, which is like a grey area, but this one here, 100% gambling. You know, and we had that big campaign a couple of years ago to try and eradicate gambling from fantasy websites, didn't we? After it was picked up by a British journalist, published in the UK papers, and was even mentioned in the Houses of Parliament, wasn't it? How fantasy sports are encouraging gambling in a game that is available for children. I know plenty of children that play FPL, you know, so it's not good, is it? And I'll tell you what else isn't good, is that I went on to Twitter the other day to mention that Scout were now been resuming their advertising, and a well-known content creator, I won't mention his name because he's a pretty good guy, and I think he was just a bit I don't know, he probably shouldn't have said what he said, but instead of saying, you know, well done for highlighting it or whatever, he tried to attack me basically and accuse me of hypocrisy. So rather than addressing the issue of the gambling ads, he tried to attack the person who was trying to point out that their gambling had resumed. You know, he was an affiliate of Scout, so you expect that kind of behaviour. We've seen it before. They all club together to attack the person that's attacking them, rather than the fact that they're once again involved in shady business, you know, because I was accused of hypocrisy because I used to be an affiliate for FanHub, you know, quite a few years ago now, and I used to get given free teams for advertising Fanteam, and I used to do that, and I've made no secret of the fact that I like a flatter myself, you know. I'm an adult, I can gamble without it becoming a problem in my life, but a lot of people can't. And when I was doing that, I was getting private messages from people telling me what a negative impact all these adverts and gambling had on their own lives, and I heard some pretty kind of sad stories and everything. and it made me realise just what an impact it had. So I stopped doing all that, and I turned to the side of the good guys and started campaigning for having gambling ads removed. And so it was a bit disappointing to be attacked for mentioning the fact that Scout had resumed their advertising. But like I said, this happens all the time. They band together. We saw it with hacking, etc., where we all pulled together and tried to deny if there was any problems or whatever. So we're used to that kind of thing. But people trying to shut me up normally has the opposite effect, So I tend not to listen to them. And in fact, it just makes me realise that it needs to be exposed even more. But, they've got this advert here. They've come back. And actually, a few years ago when we were having this campaign, I was at a chess tournament in Invercargill, and I had a phone call, and it was from someone quite high up in Scout. I can't tell you the details because it was a private phone call. But at the end of it, I was quite happy with the conversation and felt that they were genuinely trying to do all they could to stop gambling advertising on their site. But it's quite sad to see that it's actually crept back in again. I know they're now owned by a big American outfit, and that the people working for them are just working for them. They don't own it or whatever. So they're quite limited possibly in what they can do about it. But the site is basically there to make money now. But it's very sad to see these adverts have arrived. And a good shout out to The Wire and Black Box, because they've both removed their gambling ads. I think Az said the other week that they'd never have gambling ads on their stream, and so it's very good. I applaud them for that. Do hair products instead or whatever they do, and it's all good news. So it's just a shame to see Scout doing it, especially after all these other ones have taken down their ads. And so you've got FPL General's ad there right next to him, and he was a bit peeved off, I think, last time, because his ad was, a similar ad was shown on British TV, wasn't it? Because it was kind of caught up in the Scout ones there. But if you sleep with dogs, you're going to wake up with fleas, aren't you, basically? And so by associating with these sort of people, you end up being kind of dragged into it all, But I haven't got the energy to campaign against it, because I think, honestly, the war's pretty much lost, It's everywhere, isn't it? Like people say, it's on their shirts, players' shirts, and everywhere. You're fighting a losing battle. It's a bit like climate change, You can, you can stop eating vindaloo so you don't put more methane in the atmosphere or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not going to make any difference. And the big corporations are going to win out, aren't they? The planet's going to be stuffed. FPL's going to be stuffed, and money rules everything in the end, doesn't it? So it's fighting a losing battle, peeps, losing battle. But it doesn't mean you should give up completely. So I'd recommend, if you see these type of sites that do have adverts, then don't bother using them, would be my advice. And as for this thing here, look, this is just more blooming false advertising and lies. The FFS, Scout Members Area, is nearly ready. Well, it's been nearly ready for years. How long has this been up here for now? It's years, peeps, So it's all very annoying, isn't it? All very annoying. What's this other one I'm seeing down here? Jackpot City. It's just gambling ads everywhere you look, isn't there? So it's a bit of a shame, a bit disappointing that they've gone down this road. And like I said, congratulations for the others for advertising other things, because I gave them a lot of stick at the time, didn't I? And I fell out with a lot of them over it, but it was deserved, I think. They were going down a bad road, and it was good that the community went and did something about it, I think. But so it was a bit disappointing anyway to be attacked the other day like that, and someone to try and discredit me on Twitter, and make me look like an idiot rather than just accept the fact that I was trying to do some good. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now because I've had enough. I don't, So once again, I've got to say, absolute goat move, peeps, a goat move. We'll get that off the screen anyway because we don't want to look at them anymore. What we want to look at is Fernandes, absolutely blinding. Now, should you get him if you haven't got him? You probably should, because they've still got Ipswich and Everton. And that Everton game, I honestly think he could be one of the best captaincy choices for that week. But then you see they've got Arsenal, Forest and City. You see that? So these people saying wait 3 weeks before you get Man United assets. What are they thinking? Are you going to wait 3 weeks, watch them all get like 40 points each and then buy them because they're away at Arsenal? You're not going to do it, are you? So realistically, you're not going to get them until game week 17 if we don't get them now. And by then, I've already had about 40 points just from Fernandes in the last 2 weeks. So hopefully I'm going to get more. He's still quite a decent differential. And you add that fact that people can't afford him and they can't fit him in. Because a lot of people now are having to get Palmer, who's got Leicester, Villa. I tell you what, Palmer, a lot of Chelsea supporters are not too happy, Palmer, or the way he's being played. His position's changed slightly because they don't like the fact that when Caicedo and Levy are playing, it's not so good for Palmer. But it has improved Chelsea's defence immeasurably. And so whether Palmer's going to go back to what he was, we don't know. It could have just been that Chelsea have had difficult opponents the last few games, so they've played that double pivot, and that's kind of restricted Palmer a little bit. Now that they've got Leicester, Villa and Southampton, Leicester's the manager's old club, of course, isn't he? So there's an added incentive there. But it's going to be interesting to see how Palmer gets on in these next 3 games, because he hasn't been looking quite as good as he was. I think there was a 15-minute spell yesterday when he only touched the ball once. So we're going to have to see. And a lot of Chelsea fans actually are saying that João Felix should come in for a game. So with this Christmas spell, this big Christmas spell, I think we could see a bit of rotation, because what's going to happen is there's no European games for the B team to play in. There's a lot of fixtures, and there's players like Nkunku and Felix who are going to get a few league games. You can see they are going to get a few games, aren't they? So maybe even Palmer will get a rest in at least one of these games. He's going to get a rest. And the reason I don't want Jackson, I'm not so keen on Jackson, is because he's on 4 yellows. He possibly will get a rest anyway. And when he does get his 5th yellow, because he always gets yellows, Nkunku's going to come on and play. And if Nkunku does well, he could well get 2 or 3 games, I think. Jackson might not get back in for a couple of games, because of the sort of fixtures when Nkunku could do well. And he hasn't really had much of a chance to shine in the league yet, has he? So that's what's putting me off Jackson. If anything, I think a Chelsea defender, this defence is looking better. They're still not keeping clean sheets, but I think they're coming. They're improving. They're definitely improving. So what else can we talk about? Wolves still looking good. Nothing too much. Oh, Ipswich got good fixtures coming up after United game. We've got Delat. Everton running out. This is why I didn't wait another week for Calvert-Lewin, really, because following week they had Man United. I could have waited this week, but I'm paying 0.2 more for someone I have to get rid of anyway, really. So yeah, but I just got that sneaking feeling he's going to outscore Pedro this week. Brighton, fantastic fixtures coming up. After this week, Matone was an option for Johnson. Matone was pretty decent, so I'm looking at him if I decide I want to get rid of Johnson. But I wouldn't put it past Johnson or Solanke to score against City this week and next week or whenever it is. Bournemouth, fairly decent fixtures as well, if you want their striker. Arsenal's still pretty mixed, aren't they? I don't think Saka's really essential until game week 16. Even then you wouldn't say he's essential, but he'd be worth having. But I'm quite happy to get Gabriel in. I've just got that feeling there are clean sheets coming. Yeah, that's about it. Villa good fixtures coming up. They have actually, haven't they? They've got 4 decent fixtures in there. Brentford, Southampton are very good. Palace. But Watkins is too expensive, and I'd rather have Isaac if I was going to get anybody from that price bracket. Anyway, peeps, that's enough of that. I'm off now. The goat's going for a lie down, and I'll talk to you all later anyway. But remember, with the gambling ads, no one forces you to go to that website, So if you don't like the ads, vote with your feet, basically, because that's the best way. And then nobody will, it's pretty irrelevant, that site these days anyway, isn't it? So that's it, peeps. So I'll talk to you all later anyway. And I remember, rank at 2 million, 3 million, it's not actually that bad. Even 3 million, you're in the top 30%. And as you can see here, I put 50 points on some people this week. And as you can see here, I'm only 50 points from 50k. And it's not much. 2 or 3 good weeks, and anything's possible. So anything's possible. So I'm only 48 points away from 2.5 million. So it can go either way, and it can go quickly. But the fact is, you're all doing well, and good luck, peeps. And I'll talk to you all later anyway. So cheers for now then, and remember to like and subscribe. So you don't have to have me hassling you to watch them. You can get them to your notifications. And I'll talk to you all later anyway. So cheers for now.